Hi, good morning. We're coming from the Evdaimonia Center this morning with our Ask A with a yoga shred instructor. This morning, Kai Potts joins us as we talk about yoga shred and YOUnison. So let's get started. So Kai, tell me, what's your story? What's your passion? How'd you get to this point?
Well, so I am a musician by trade. I've been playing the viola since I was 11 years old, and it's always been that thing that's driven me, and I've always been super passionate about it. I performed with a lot of people in my life, the most recent being Celine Dion, and touring with the Sphinx Virtuosi and other groups. I have just always been super passionate and super absorbed in music from head to toe, basically. But the thing that happened to me, being so absorbed in the music, is that I very often forgot to pay attention to my body. Even after I discovered yoga about a decade ago, it was not always translated into the things that I did with my viola. You know, a lot of times, you know, shoulders get hunched because you're nervous, or you start holding things in a habitual way that's really not serving the body as well as it should. So that led me to start to think about the idea of bringing more movement, more mindfulness, more awareness of the body into what I do with the viola, and using it to help others find that same awareness, because everyone around me for the longest time, you know, they'd have shoulder injuries, they'd have hip injuries, they'd have back problems. And really, I mean, you go to physical therapy, you get the exercises, you try the exercises, you get better, but then these habitual patterns are just so strong that you end up going back to whatever way worked for you to get the job done, get the music done, get the music made. So having something like YOUnison, which we'll talk about later, that brings the music together in a healing way for both practitioners but also musicians, you know, it's really close to my heart. And as far as the other side of my story too, I've always been into health and to eating well. I've been a vegan, I've been a vegetarian, I've been a raw vegan, I've been a meatitarian, I've been an everything-atarian throughout, you know, my 38 years of life. And it's been, I've had my ups and I've had my downs, and but most of the time I felt like I was doing whatever was the healthiest for my body at the time. I was always, you know, I guess a little, I guess you could say overweight or heavy for most of my life. Whatever it is, I was me. I was still comfortable in my skin for most of the time, but you know, I was always searching for that thing that was going to bring me back to center. And I had some injuries, as we were talking about the music stuff, about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, that almost ended my career. I'd had a baby. I was actually pretty overweight at the time due to all the stress and stuff. First, my shoulder went out, just lifting some groceries one day, which it wasn't from the groceries. It was actually from years and years and years of these habitual movements with the viola that weren't serving me. I went to physical therapy. I thought that my career as a musician was over. Like I literally thought I would not be able to play. My physical therapist told me, maybe you'll be able to play again, but who knows if you'll be able to do it the same way and with the same intensity that you did before. She also said that I was very lucky that I had a yoga practice leading into my injury, even though I was, you know, I was heavy. I was like maybe 200 pounds or somewhere around there. I was still strong from the inside. I was still flexible from the inside. So when we did the exercises, I was able to recover a lot faster than I could before. That was also around the time that I started to discover the yoga shred. Actually, it was the core strength vinyasa that came first, as I was already, doing some other yoga practices. And I learned how to move my body in a way, to work my body in a way that came from a deeper place. It wasn't just moving from the outside, like coming in and just, okay, here we go. Let me just get myself set up for my viola. It came from someplace deeper and supported. And that has helped me to overcome first that shoulder injury. And then a year later, I also had a back injury as well from the same thing. Because if you're not doing that habitual thing over and over again, if you stop, because, life, I had a child. So, I couldn't do that same 8 hours a day practicing and performing. You start to feel those places that you've worked in the wrong way. And that's why my back went out. And then again, it was like, I don't know if you can do it. How are you going to sit in a chair in an orchestra for a 3-hour opera? You can't do that when you can barely sit without having excruciating pain in your back. And I know I'm taking a long time to answer this because
this is a great answer. These are great answers. Our viewers need to hear this.
It's very central to YOUnison. But
well, now that you mentioned YOUnison, so tell me how all of this ties into YOUnison Yoga and Music by Kai.
Yes, and this thing has been living in me for so long. I've had it in my head through multiple tours with, like the virtuosi and teaching people yoga and teaching people music. Bringing these two things together is just the most natural thing that I can think of. I healed from my back injuries. I had the core strength vinyasa in my bones. So again, I healed quickly, but I also came back with this idea that I need to bring this practice into what I do with the viola, and I need to bring what I do with the viola into what I do with the yoga. And so YOUnison was born around that time as well. And YOUnison is a synergy between viola practice and yoga practice. So I bring the healing vibrational frequency of the viola into the yoga space to help inspire more opening through the body, through the mind, and through the spirit. And no, I'm not going to come in and play Paganini caprices or Bach suites or anything like that, because it's not about that. It's about the actual frequencies and how we start to vibrate with them within our body, because everything has a vibration, everything has a frequency, and the right vibrations let us connect to some of those spaces in our body, and they literally open up space in the body, depending on what chord you're playing or what things you're doing together. So I bring that in the beginning, and usually always at the end during Shavasana. And sometimes, depending on the room, I can sprinkle it in as we do a flow.
Talk to me about that synergy between yoga and music. I think you were touching on it, but tell the audience how that synergy between yoga and music actually comes to fruition when someone is in a class with you.
So, yoga is not just about bringing yourself into these crazy poses, even though that can be the end result after years of opening and practice. It's more about drawing in deeper towards your core and figuring out all that stuff in there. The poses help us to melt away some of the things that we're holding in the outer body so that we can go inward. Music is the same. Music, the people that perform the music are doing it so that we can take something from our center and present it out to you so that it can affect you, so that it can open you to new emotions, new ways of thinking, ways of feeling, ways of being. Any style of music, classical music, the Lady Gaga, whatever, it's all the same feeling of taking what's in here and extending out and bringing us together in this experience of the moment. So bringing the viola, or bringing a musical instrument, one like the viola that is so resonant and so connected to vibration, into a place where we are constantly working on strengthening our vibration, strengthening our connection to our core. It's a natural way to bring us all closer together, all deeper into ourselves, and really find that synergy between the frequency in our body and the frequencies around us. So in a class, you're doing a pose. Most of the time you're holding a pose. When I do the viola vibrational therapy, you are connecting to your core, and then the frequencies come around you and let you take that deeper into, maybe it's a physical space, sometimes it's an emotional space. Maybe it connects with something, and this happens all the time in yoga classes. You start crying and you're like, I don't know why I'm crying, I don't understand. But maybe you found something that some emotion that was stuck in your thighs or something. And I played a certain chord, and it just kind of got to that space, and it just resonates, it resonates, and then it dissipates, and you get to connect to that and let it go.
Excellent. So what kind of other styles of yoga and what kind of styles of music do you play and practice?
Well, so I already talked a little bit about core strength vinyasa, which is an amazing new way to move through your poses from your deepest core, your deep core line, and building a strong foundation and moving from the inner body as opposed to moving from the outer body, which we do a lot in yoga. And so I really connected to that practice because it's safer, you work stronger, you work harder, but you can do as much work as you do in another yoga class in less time because you're moving from a more centered place. So that's kind of the crux of a lot of my practice. And I've since expanded that into YOUnison. Also, I've taken that to the next level with the Yoga Shred, which is an extension of the core strength vinyasa, but it adds high intensity interval training into the yoga practice, which is important because yoga often only focuses on the slow twitch muscles, on the stretching. And yes, you can get a great workout in a vinyasa yoga class, don't get me wrong, or a power yoga class. Yes, you're sweating and all that stuff, but a lot of times yogis can be strong and be stretched and still have trouble running up the stairs and still run out of breath. So when you add that HIIT, that high intensity interval training, you start to work your cardio into it. And you do it in a way where you push yourself for 20 seconds and then you let the body rest for 10 seconds. So you're constantly opening up, your breathing capacity. You're working the muscles, letting them rest, letting them stretch a little bit, and then you're getting into the fast twitch muscles. Those muscles that you get into when you're in like a step class, and you're really pushing the joints, pushing the muscles, stretching the muscles. But then with the yoga side of it, you are still able to open things up, stretch things out, release things that you need to release. And so you're doing twice the work in the same amount of time, or doing the same amount of work in half the time, which is what we like to aim for a lot of the times. So those two come together as well in a YOUnison practice. And then the third style is called spinal reset. So this is the gentler of the three styles that come together to form YOUnison. And this is new, and it was founded by Tristan Gatto. He's amazing. The Shred and the Core Strength Vinyasa were founded by Sadie Nardini. I can't tell you how amazing they are, but we're not going to talk about that for the next hour, because I could. But the Spinal Reset program focuses on healing, on supporting your healing of your spine. A lot of us have low back problems, low back injuries as we get older, as our body starts to, I guess, break down a little bit. Yes, there you go. We're all going to age. We're not going to stay young forever. That's
unfortunate.
Yeah, exactly. But the Spinal Reset program takes some people who may have had those injuries and been treated for those injuries, maybe in a physical therapy practice or gone to the chiropractor, and creates a space where you can continue to shore up all of those places that you need to stay well. So let's say you finished your physical therapy practice and the physical therapist says, okay, you need to maintain this. You have to do your exercises. I want you to go to the gym. I want you to find a yoga practice. Most of the time you go to a yoga practice, and sometimes it's not really tailored to you. It's not tailored to keeping your spine safe, and you push yourself a little far, and then maybe you re-injure yourself. Or on the other side of the spectrum, you're like, yeah, sure, I'll do my exercises, but then you don't. And then you end up back at the physical therapist or the chiropractor or whatever, wherever you're going to get your treatment. The Spinal Reset allows us to gently move the body, flow the body, wave the body in a way that's safe for your back. It's strengthening for your back, for your entire spine and your neck and your shoulders and everything, and maintain that wellness that you were able to get from your practitioner, whoever it is. Maybe you're still young and you haven't had any injuries. The Spinal Reset helps you with that maybe chronic back pain that we all get from sitting at a desk all day. Helps to loosen up those muscles and really reset us so we can operate from a place where we know how to support ourselves from our core without injuring ourselves. We know how to sit. We know how to breathe so that we aren't creating problems for our physical therapists and chiropractic people in the future. So the Spinal Reset is something to balance out these three practices and make it so that we have a level where everybody can start to heal.
Excellent. Well, my second to last question is about the transformative aspect. How do you think that YOUnison works to transform each and every person that, takes part in the practice and works out with you?
So, I know I keep going, so. Well, I've been focusing a lot on the Yoga Shred because it's new and it's amazing in what it does to transform the body. And I've personally seen amazing transformations through the Yoga Shred program, and also through adding the Viola vibrational therapy into the YOUnison program, into the YOUnison Yoga Shred program, because it takes that opening and release to the next level. Because the shred, it does what it says it's going to do. It shreds and sheds everything that you don't need, and you come out not only feeling, energized and invigorated, you come out without pain. You come out feeling better than you did when you stepped in, and that feeling continues for 24 to 48 or maybe even longer afterward, because your body is still burning away all that stuff that's not serving you, whether it's fat, whether it's calories, whether it's even building the muscles. The HIIT, the high intensity interval training, keeps those juices going. And this, my beautiful Viola, I love you. It really brings it all together. Having the shred, having the core strength vinyasa worked into the shred. And I've seen people other than myself transform. In the last year, between the shred and between the YOUshedology, which is my eating plan that involves eating tons of vegetables, tons of healthy fats and proteins, all of the things that work for my body, and discovering the things that work for your body and shredding and shedding away the stuff that doesn't. That plus the shred, I've lost over 50 pounds in the last year, in addition to losing inches and gaining strength and making so many gains that I never thought were possible. Like today in our yoga class, I did some poses that I didn't think I'd ever be able to do. Oh. But somehow I can do them now because I've created the space in my body. Space that I didn't have when I was practicing yoga for 3 hours a day. You know, space that I didn't have when, you know, I was practicing viola for 8 hours a day. It's a different space. And I've truly transformed, and I'm watching others who are going through the Yoga Shred program, through the YOUnison program. She's being shy, but she's transforming. There are other people in the center who are coming back and saying, "What is this magic?" Because
That's a really good word for it. It's magic. It's completely magic.
Yeah, like losing, it's not about the weight.
No.
It's about the weight of all of the things that you're carrying with you that are suddenly able to release and melt away through the shred, through the YOUnison, viola vibrational therapy, through everything that we do here with YOUnison at the Eudaimonia Center. And it brings me great joy to see people saying, yeah, I'm losing weight, I'm feeling great, I'm looking great, and it's only been like 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm already seeing this transformation. So I want to take this to you. I want to take this to everybody because it's awesome. It's awesome.
And she's awesome.
Magical.
She's magical. I know you're shy, but it's all true. So like as we bring this to a close, one, I want everyone to see who the real star of the show is. But what makes YOUnison Yoga Music by Kai different from any other yoga practice that most of us have been to?
Well, a lot of the stuff that we've already talked about makes us super unique. You know, having the viola there, having the vibrations there to open you up further. You're not going to find that anywhere. And you're not going to find that, plus the shred, plus the vinyasa, plus just this space as well. It's one of the most open, accepting, non-judgmental spaces that I've ever been in. So all of that together makes this place unlike any place in the DMV, unlike any other place in the country. Just it's so unique, and you have to come here to truly experience it. You don't get the same connection through the phone or through the video. Coming here, letting it wash over you.
And truly feeling the vibrations of the instrument.
Yes, there's nothing like it.
Nothing like it. And speaking of nothing like it, word on the street is that you're the only yoga shred instructor from, let's say, Baltimore to Northern Virginia?
Yeah, I would say that.
Okay.
There's another amazing lady down in Virginia, and hopefully we'll be doing things together as well. But if you want the shred, come here. You're going to love it, and I'm going to love having you and working with you and giving a little bit of myself and taking in a little bit of you and growing even more. So I hope you'll join us here.
One other component is Seva. Can you tell our audience what YOUnison does in terms of the concept of Seva?
Sure. So Seva means service. It also means giving back. You can take it a little bit deeper in, giving of yourself without expecting anything in return. And so in the spirit of Seva, YOUnison gives 5% or a percentage of every dollar that we make to a local charity that supports the community. And this year, our SEVA partner is HopeWorks of Columbia. So we've participated in a couple of fundraisers already. We did HopeWorks Salutes Nonviolence, where we raised money by going through 108 sun salutations to raise awareness and to raise money. And we'll continue that for the entirety of 2019 to try and make a difference and help them make an impact and support the vulnerable people, those who are vulnerable in our community. And the idea of giving back, of SEVA, is integral integral to YOUnison and our mission. We will always give back. We will always give everything of ourselves, because that's how we connect. That's how we vibrate together in unison. We vibrate with those things in ourselves that are so deep and matter so much to us, and then we reach out to others and we vibrate with that connection in them. We reach out to those who are vulnerable in our community, and we try to lift them up so that we can all be stronger and vibrate stronger together. So that's why it's so important.
Well, no further ado, I'd like you to end our little time together with a little vibrational therapy from your viola, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Okay. I'm going to take a little side dip so that you can take full center screen, and I'll just listen and be ministered to.
So I will play a little bit for you what we do during our Shavasana. It's YOUnison's signature tone, signature tune. And again, it's simple, but it takes you through all of the different tones of the scale, all of the different vibrations of the scale, so that you can feel some of those that inspire maybe resistance, some tension, and then feel the release of that and vibrate together with the sound. So yeah, I'll end with that. You'll hear this at some points in any YOUnison class that you come to. And if you're at home, maybe close your eyes and just let the vibration, let the sound wash over you. So that is how we vibrate together in unison here at the Eudaimonia Center. So I hope you'll join us. I really want to vibrate together with each and every one of you.
Thanks so much, Kai.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Namaste.
Namaste. And maybe we'll see you for a shred.